All right, once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the secondary stream here at the Starletter Invitational, live from Kiev. We're about to go into map number 3 between Virtus.pro and the guys on Worst Players. Simple's new team, and it's going to be on Cobblestone. Tom, let's talk a little bit about this as things are going live right now.
Well, this is a map where I just decided, okay, let's bring up some of VP stats. So, Cobblestone recently, past 3 months, they've won it 4 times or 6. You take out the factor of online games, they have only won 1 game on Cobblestone. Obviously, normally they are against much higher tier opposition, so I can sort of see the fact that they could probably take this one pretty dominantly. I wouldn't say it should be a problem, but just after the last map, I just sort of think, well, Worst Players, clearly they have some talent, they have some players who can go off. This is a very T-sided map. We saw them have great performance on the T-side. I think they won every single T round, didn't they, in the final overtime?
I believe so, actually.
So the fact is, their T-side is actually very, very good. On a map like this, they could just get off to a crazy, crazy start. Of course, VP, they are going to be the ones with the choice. Most teams still tend to stick with CT side, as you said, just to get off to that start, and then they can sort of pull things back, and they will. So this is a great opportunity, actually, for Worst Players to get off to that start they need. Of course, getting the pistol, getting their economy going very, very quickly is something I feel will be important for them, because they want to get as many rounds. They want to gain their confidence, and then when they go over to their CT side, they could just be like, just steamrolling like they were over on the other map, which was Cash.
So we'll be getting started here at any moment. I do actually believe that Virtus.pro, yep, they did. Virtus.pro did make the decision to stay on the CT side, so they're going to be starting off here with the Worst Players, guys. They're going to be able to get that T-side start that we were talking about before. We'll be jumping into things now, guys, so let's get to it. Virtus.pro versus the Worst Players, map number 3. Here to decide who stays in the upper bracket. He goes down into the lower bracket to face off against SK in the next matchup over on the mainstream.
Well, I feel like either way SK could have some trouble, because we've seen, well, obviously VP, there's still a huge name in esports for sure, but Worst Players clearly showing they do have some prowess, at least on Cash. But anyway, we're going to be seeing the pistol coming in for, well, actually a P250 more specifically for Simple, also going with a Molotov as well and filling with a smoke. So it looks like they are going to go initially over towards the middle area, but it's going to be the first frag going to Snacks. He quickly gets traded, and now the rush can just come in. It's going to be down to Taz to try and find something. He finds himself the first, looking for a second. He finds just that, looking for a third. Can he find one more one tap just to make things a little bit more pleasant for the remaining players? Yes, he can, and it's all down to Fix. Great plays from Taz, just so much time with a long-range USP. However, Fix, he manages to find one more, finding himself a third. Crazy pistol round already, and Neo, he's going to get taken down. Quad kill from Fix.
Taz doing all that work and to have it all wasted, that's got to be upsetting now for the guys on Virtus.pro, and specifically for Taz after having such a great performance. But unfortunately for him, Fix showed up with a better one. And with that said, the Worst Players will be able to take control of the first round here on map number 3. And start off now with the buy-up going into the second round. Mainly SMGs, a Scout coming on to Simple, and the AK for Fix. But for the guys on Virtus.pro, they're actually going to give some respect. They're not going to go for the complete buyout. A couple players, most notably Pasha and Neo, go for the armor buy behind those upgraded pistols, but for a lot of them, they're just going to upgrade the pistols themselves and not pick up anything else.
Possibly want an early AWP. Snacks just going for the P250. It is possible. It has been picking it up quite a bit, actually, on Cash, especially. We saw him go for the AWP a few times. Pasha was alongside him, so we have seen some switch up with the AWP in this map so far, and I do think on the CT side it is a very important weapon. But here we go. Snacks looking for initial kill, not going to find it with Fillon, finding $600 into his bank account with that UMP. Of course, just rushing up now. This is going to be very difficult. Of course, most teams would decide to stack that B site, and, well, Crush is going to take down one more.
Bialy looking for something here back outside of the balcony. Taz did pick up one of his own too, but Bialy's struggling to even catch anyone physically just from the side of Worst Players here. He's going to get mollied outside of the balcony. Knife his way through, but also being a little bit careful with the molly to make sure it doesn't take him down. Arch finding another pickup. You can see the deagle shots ringing through from Taz, but Bialy's a little bit more out in the open about the way he's playing this one. And now stuck inside of the corner. I don't think they knew he was that up close, but nicely done from Crush. Leaps inside of the shed, taking him down. And now for Taz, so we just got to try to run as everybody from the Worst Players is chasing him down.
Yeah, quite a simple round in the end for the T side. One more coming out from Taz, and another. What is that? Looking for something more. Of course, the round end doesn't matter, but at least he's going to do some damage. Triple kill from Taz with the dig. Showing a little bit, just showing off a little bit towards the end of the round.
Ultimately, though, not going to make too big of a difference at the end of the round there, as it's not thinking to be gained on the CT side here just from picking up those kills. The T-side can easily forgive that in their own economy in itself. Virtus.pro now going to have to respect things.
He's going to get another one. Lots of money. Well, I think he had 4,500 at the start of that round after those kills. So, of course, 6 kills already for him, and nothing really coming of it so far. But we are going to see just the stack coming in towards the B side. It does look like the initial push will be coming in from the T's in this direction. Of course, they now have a couple of AKs still, quite a few SMGs in play, so long range not going to be ideal for those weapons, but of course they're against players with no armor. Bialy actually has a deagle as well, so there are a couple of deags in play. Taz going to be playing just behind the smoke, looking for that initial kill, but it's going to be, well, 2 quick headshots. Snacks will manage to find one onto Simple, but this is all just damage play coming in at the moment. I feel like the CT side would need a miracle to try and make a play, but Snacks, he's going to find one, going to pick himself up an Obviously, any kills with this will make him a nice amount of cash. That is $600 additional, and it did look like he was saving for an AWP, so anything more would be absolutely perfect for him.
With the 2 kills gained, the rest of the worst players are being held back a little bit here, taking their time, as they have shifted away from the B hits slightly, but it's only to try and cause some rotations closer to the A bombs. They've succeeded in doing this, but now the problem is we're not actually seeing the execution to follow this back up now. Bialy is still here on the B bomb site, ready to defend, and they've even given time for Pasha to rotate back into this site to try and help things out. The smoke is going to box him out. He could jump in if he wants to, but not really hearing anything that would indicate there is going to be a play coming in this direction, so he'll just fall back and try to support Snacks a little bit, or apologies, Bialy a little bit if he can. Oh. There's Bialy with another pickup, looking for one more with the deagle, but Fix is finally going to trade him down, bringing things into a 2-on-2. We'll see the quick rotation coming out from Snacks, but the problem is ultimately going to be Pasha here with essentially nothing to work with, just the USP, and now it's all on Snacks in the 1v2 with no armor, no utility, and still up against an AK in the hands of Fix.
Yeah, this is a very, very difficult situation here. Even a kill would be nice, but Fix just going to tear his head clean off. They will save both the AKs at least into this round. But, of course, a little bit of extra money earned, and, well, we could actually see an AWP come in, and there we go. Snack's actually going to pick that up straight off the bat, and you can see, well, Fix currently has an AWP in his hand. He's probably going to drop that over to Simple. Yeah, no surprises there. But the T's, they're not buying up with, like, a huge amount of cash behind them. They could be reset very, very quickly, and we've seen how good VP have actually been in these first buy rounds, so let's see how they actually do in this round. Of course, the AWP will be going over towards the A site at the moment, just playing alone. This is quite a common play, just going to be trying to find some sort of pick if they do come in this position, but at the moment, the bomb currently over towards, well, sort of the middle area, not going to find anything there just yet, and the T's just gathering up outside A.
So now Snacks pushing himself away from the site a little bit here. Tries to go for that usual long A play to catch out any early aggression from the T's that may come over there towards the long A approach, but not catching any of it. And for the most part now it just has to sit back closer to the site in the event that they had made progress in taking control of mid-connector, which they actually have. So he's going to find himself in a hot spot here, but thankfully more support has already arrived. Taz is up on the platform right now, and we also have Bialy starting to shift his way over to the site too. So they are expecting this to be a very big A hit, but now would be a great time as well for worse players to suddenly stop this, maybe keep one player alive to toss in a smoke or something, while the rest rotate over to the B site, and that may be exactly what they are doing.
This is all just about mind games. As said, very, very difficult to actually find out information for the CT side. Snacks was trying to take peeks, but they just kept throwing flashbangs to force him further and further back. And now, as you said, they're going to throw 2 players sort of into the blender just to try and force this rotation. And already we see 1 player over towards the B site. The push is going to be coming in. It's going to be down to Neo playing over towards the statue. He's going to spot out 1, but Simple will instantly take him down. Now down to Pasha, the only one left. Currently sat by the rock, and he'll get taken down by Simple as well. 2 quick kills with the AWP, and now it's going to be down to the retake. A difficult retake for the CT side.
We've already got Simple watching out for the push to come in from the CT man, along with Drop a little bit there too. And it's going to move in. They've got a player already over here by the statue, but I don't think he realizes just how pushed up he is at this point. So a bit rough now for Simple, as he's going to get destroyed by Taz. Another shot coming out there brings Philan down pretty low, as we see Bialy picking that one up. Crush does respond, but Snack just walks right up there with the op. Finds his 3rd kill of the round, and that will be a nice retake, putting Virtus.pro on the board here on the first gun round.
Yeah, I like the attempt. Of course, you even mentioned the idea before they did it. They threw 2 players in there. Unfortunately, though, there was no real impact from those 2 players. Even if they took 1 player down, it may have made the retake sort of impossible, but unfortunately, that is going to be a 3-to-1 scenario now. The Virtus.pro back on the buy, and as mentioned before, so much damage done to that economy, and we're actually going to see Simple go for a glass cannon AWP.
Now moving in, the guys on worst players pushing their way up on top of the B platform area. Very quickly looking to take control of Drop 2, which is an area that we hadn't seen Virtus.pro contesting all that much. The player that moves towards it this time will be Bialy, but he only finds 1 kill. It's immediately traded up by Arch. Now it's Pasha's turn to strike. Up close with the shotgun, tries to go for the 2nd combo kill, but he's at range. Thankfully, Taz is there to help out. He's going to grab 2, and then Pasha with the leaping shot Shuts out Simple. And there's going to be another one for VP.
Well, I think if you ever want to find some Mag 7 highlights, this is the guy you want to go to. He seems to be pulling everything out when he has this weapon in hand. He is going to throw that AWP over to Neo, something we haven't actually seen too much of so far. Clearly not going with the AUG this time, deciding the AWP is the favored weapon of choice. But now the reset has come in for the T-side. VP managed to survive the onslaught of that very weak buy, and the AWP of Simple really didn't manage to do anything in that previous round.
So now here, already starting things off well for Virtus.pro. Snacks shuts down Simple. He attempts to go very quickly inside of that mid connector, but in the one-on-one duel, Taz, or apologies, Snacks is going to definitely come out on top of that picture with the aggressive push he went for. Taz, actually, as we go back to him, does hold pretty well inside of the mid connector too, finds a 2-for-1 trade. Snacks looking for the flick with the op as he falls back over here towards the A site itself, but it's going to be met pretty nicely. And also, Arch almost taking down Snacks. He dropped down a little bit, so I think it messed up its aim, and that's going to allow Snacks to stay alive for the time being, but at a very, very low amount of health. Only 12 HP left alive on him.
Yeah, very, very low. They have done a little bit of damage. Of course, Snacks now low. However, the rotation is slowly coming in to just pincer them onto this site. They've got to make a move here pretty soon, otherwise the players will come in behind. However, Arch is going to find Bialy, so now it's actually getting into a little bit of a worrying scenario for Virtus.pro, because there's actually only one player onto the site. The remaining two are sort of going for a flank play, and that could drop another AWP. And of course, rebuying all these weapons is going to be expensive for the CT side, even if they do manage to close out this round. However, Neo's position could be absolutely perfect here. He could completely ruin any sort of push that could be made. Of course, Arch now standing out in the open. Philin going to be pushing straight into the crosshair, and look at the trigger control. Lovely stuff. It's actually Pasha, and he finds, well, one, not going to quite find the second. Arch going to be pushing in, but he will finish it off. And just great work from Pasha there, calm, and just taking the frags nice and easy.
So with that said, that'll tie things up now, 3 rounds either team. Worst players definitely not giving up on the buys. Actually still surviving with quite a decent amount of money. So left over with enough to go for the AK buy up here. Philin should still have enough to buy himself up here too. A couple players going to be without utility, at least without a decent amount of it, as we can see across the board there. But on the side of Virtus.pro, they're starting to stack up their own money, and they've got the 2 ops in play now. The double op setup still remains very prevalent here for the CT side.
Well, this is one way that you can start to build up more and more CT rounds if your players just able to build up the economy, get a huge amount of utility, and just slow down the positions. And, well, even in these scenarios, we do see a few peaks coming out. Neo and Snacks both on the AWP here, and already we can see some aggression going over towards the plat area with 2 players currently just edging, having a little bit of a look to try and see if there's anything coming. But that is one of the main problems of the CT side of this map, is you just have to go for these sort of risky plays. But it is going to be Neo, now that he's up there, this is actually a very, very good position to hold off any sort of push towards the plat area. However, drop down, another position which, well, probably one of the most difficult positions on the whole game to actually hold. And, well, you can actually just see from the positions, they're just holding it from outside. They're not going anywhere near it.
So Taz now placing himself inside of Suicide Steps, but he actually just dropped down. I'm not sure if that was on purpose, but regardless, they're really not going to catch that. He's going to find a first kill. It's traded back out by Philin, but Snacks finds another pick up there too. Still keeping it in the advantage of VP, actually holding back worse players from going for their eventual A hit over here. You can see the op lined up there from Simple. He's trying to catch someone who gets over aggressive and looks for that peak. Back over by Long A, but he's still not able to catch it as of yet. And he's definitely not going to get too aggressive about it, so sticks back, and he'll have to retreat pretty soon here to regroup with the rest of his team that are now pushing over closer to the B site.
Well, Snacks, for me, so far, has been doing a very, very good job of actually anchoring this A site. I feel like without him, they could have lost way more rounds already, but we do see the initial pick now. Neo going to be finding that kill. It's going to be the first one coming out from him, looking for a second, not quite going to find it. It's going to be Arch pushing, and he will find the headshot onto Neo. And now Arch going to be pushing to try and find something, but the time is so very low. Pasha could completely ruin this. If he takes down that bomb, it is all over, but Arch going to find the kill nonetheless. Seconds remain. Bialy, he could end this here and now, and he will do just that. Nothing they can do. And, well, Simple, will he die after the round? That is the only question that I'm really asking at this stage. It looks like he'll survive.
Makes it out. But now he's got no money, so he's going to have no utility going into this round. He still has the op, of course, and that's the most important thing here. But for the rest of his teammates, even with looking at what they have, another force-up is going to be in the forecast. Looking at it, it's really not great. A downgrade over to a Tech 9 for Crush. A UMP for Philon. As for Fix, he's also on a Tech 9 buy. So they've got enough utility to stave off the CTs, or at least try to force them out of their positions. But yeah.
I'd say this would probably line up for a quick drop push just with the amount of money that they have. I'd say just go for those close range battles. Going towards Plat does allow Pasha, will, especially in this position, to find a decent amount of damage. Of course, they are just building up. A couple of players still waiting outside. We see the AWP currently over in the corner as well. So they are edging over towards this B side at the moment with the bomb down over there. But still, they're just making sure that no information can be found by Virtus.pro by going in this initial push. And there we go. That AWP was saved, and they find that initial kill. There goes Neo.
Pasha falling back now. He's going to try to still hold Broken Wall here, but further back with the op. And for the guys on worst players now, the decision to be made if they continue to go for this play over to the B-bomb side or if they shift this to an A hit. They still have 2 guys watching for a push to come out from the A-bomb side if the CTs want to get aggressive, but they really haven't done so as of yet. They've really only had Snacks going for these more aggressive peaks. It looks like worst players are trying to get drop control, but they move away from it now for the time being. Only Philin has moved inside of there, and he's kind of stuck at the moment. Crush is here to support him a little bit, but ultimately that bomb is going for an A hit.
Support him with flashbang that completely blinds him, but it was sort of helping him out, and he does find a kill in the end, and he's pushed out towards the A side. He could actually do a huge amount of damage from this position. If they don't manage to shut him down quickly, this could be the perfect sort of snap onto the A side. Snacks is going to get closed down here. He needs to find that flick. What a shot from him, but he won't find the second fix. Does manage to close him down, and now a 4 versus 2. Although there was a little bit of prowess from Snacks in the end, I feel like the remaining CT players may just have to save here, and well, already you can just see Pasha smelling the rotation, and he finds that kill onto Crush. And actually, well, if Bialy can find a quick kill here, there's a chance. He does find one, looking for the second. Gonna go for that, he'll find that as well. And now this has come into a possible situation. It's gonna be Fix, one of the better players in the last map, looking for the headshot. Bialy's gonna take him down. That was a 1 versus 3 retake. Pasha was nowhere to be seen.
Pasha really only kills the flank, that's all he does. But it's still a very important frag, of course. But ultimately, though, as you mentioned, on the site, it's all Bialy that shuts things down. So with that said, Virtus.pro right back into holding on to their lead. Now a 2-round advantage. And for the guys on worst players, though, they've been much more consistent with their plants coming into this one. So while we did see a bit of a risky buy in that last round, they get the plant down, and they can go right back to 5 AKs here on round number 9.
The only thing I have to question there is so 3 players on the site, not one of them ready to trade the frag. Every single one of them took an individual peek and ended up going down. So obviously that is something that could be just a dynamic that is built once your team has been together a little bit longer. You do have to remember that they haven't been together long at all. I think they've only actually played 2 best of 3s with this lineup. So the fact they're coming in here and giving Virtus.pro a run for their money is a huge stake in itself. But of course, 5 rounds already for the CT side. They're going to be getting off to a supreme start, although the rounds have been pretty close.
Also should be noted, too, that very little warning with regards to the fact that they were even coming to this land. I think they, like, officially it was only announced, like, yesterday, if I remember correctly, they were going to be here. Well, maybe finding out a couple of days before that, but still at the most, giving them a very little time to actually prep for this big of a land. So, anyway, getting into this round. So 1-for-1 trade has started off. Snacks is going to be pressed back, but it's wrecked by Fix as he tries to go for a bit of a boost up there behind the shed. Simple finding another pickup, and all of a sudden things are not looking very good whatsoever for Virtus.pro, as their final 2 players are stuck here behind the wall with no way to get inside of the A site.
Yeah, do manage to find a tag onto Philin. Of course, he is the player bomb in this scenario, but Neo going to be going down. Molotov may actually be able to take down the bomb plant. Very, very low on HP. Philin not quite going to be caught by that, and now Pasha, well, they've been coming so close in these rounds. He's just going to have to save this rifle. I feel like they will have the money to buy up. Actually, it's not that great. It really did take a huge hit from the previous round, so they may not be able to buy up anything. They're going to obviously get 1,400 added onto what they have, and, well, the Virtus.pro style does suggest they may go for some sort of force. They have done it previously in this matchup, and as said, I do feel like this can be a very T-sided map, so they may be feeling confident with the 5 rounds they already have. Especially a team like Na'Vi, they could do it from something like 4 rounds and still win, but I don't feel like Virtus.pro are as confident on this map as we said from the stats earlier, and while Pasha, he's just going to try and save this now. I don't think they're going to be able to find him unless he makes a huge mistake.
No, should be good to make another round, so he'll survive with that rifle. Ultimately, however, now comes the big decision from the side of Virtus.pro. Neo's already invested in armor. But the real question is, like, what are we going to see about behind that? Is he just going to try to even themselves out around the 2K mark? So we'll see the rifle coming in, or are they just going to force up? And they're going to make the decision to go all in, essentially, here. Rifles, UMP on Snacks, a FAMAS for Bialy, but it is going to be an attempt to try and strike back.
It's not the worst buy in the world, but the 2 UMPs, they're going to have to play very, very close, possibly go for a little bit of early aggression to try and find something here. We're already seeing Crush pushing out into Plat. He's clearly willing to take these jewels and possibly expecting some sort of save coming in from VP. So we'll see what they actually do go for in this round, the worst players. Of course, they won the last one relatively comfortably with 4 players surviving, so this would be a huge benefit to their economy if they did manage to take it and possibly a way back into the game. But here we go, push coming in onto Plat.
Yep, first strike, but it's going to be a shutdown from Simple as he again leads the charge for his team, moving in, taking out Neo. Now these other three here on the bomb side, they're all jumbled up right now. They're trying to get a little bit more room to maneuver. Thankfully, the smoke that was tossed in does hold back the worst players for the time being, but Bialy behind the statue now. More pressure coming in for Posh in just a moment, but he's keeping himself quiet. There's a good shot from Bialy. Takes down Crush, and Posh is still up close inside of the smoke, looking for more. He's going to be able to hear them dropping down, gets the intel. The smoke starts to fade. He fires off a little bit too soon, though, and Arch, he's able to react to that. It takes out Pasha. They've just spotted Bialy back over here by the statue, and it's going to be Simple again that picks up another very important kill. Takes him down. Bialy moving out, looking for more pickups, but he's stuck here. Phil just walks up on top from the boost area, surprises him and takes him down. It's all on Taz, but ultimately he will not be able to do all that much as he's still just outside in middle and in a 1-on-4.
Yeah, that was a huge risk coming in from VP. I think we both sort of felt that it was a risk that they didn't really need to take. And while it hasn't paid off at all, Simple again, as you mentioned, finding 2 important frags coming onto that site. Also, well, they just sort of ran over everyone in the end. And again, a slight mistake coming out from Pasha, just a little bit premature with the spray. And, well, unfortunately, he doesn't manage to find anything. However, Taz has managed to get himself an AK. There would be something at least to bring into the next round, although I feel like there really isn't that much for them to play with at all. Again, they spent pretty much everything going into this buy, so it will just be the lost bonus of 1900. And that's going to be it.
A couple of upgraded pistols. Maybe if someone wants to get a little bit greedy and armor buy it behind like Taz, but Taz has already got a rifle himself, so he should be good.
We can drop the tech.
Yep. That's going to be it, though, as they're going to have to round the pistol around the 2K mark, so they can afford to go for the buy-up in the next round. As for the worst players, though, right back on to keeping things close. It's a lot like Cash, the way the scoreline's progressing here, as they are able to battle back and forth here with the guys on VP, still managing to pick up a lot more gun rounds. It seemed like Mirage just, it almost seems like at this point that Mirage was just sort of like a rusty start for those guys, and as soon as we saw players like Fix getting going with their entries, along with Simple here too, that immediately the team became like tenfold better on the T side.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, like Arch was a player who stepped up massively on the CT side, so they're definitely going to need that again in this one, but it does look like they've gone for a stack over towards the B site. Not really playing anything towards A, but unfortunately it looks like the T's, they're just going to go on that fact-finding mission over towards the A site. It's going to be down to Taz. Of course, he is the one player with the rifle, going to be pushing in to try and find something. He's been great so far, finding some very important kills in the first few rounds, but not really getting much for what he managed to achieve. And now we're going to see that push, and Taz is straight out of the round. He does a bit of damage, allowing Snacks to find one. He actually picks up a second as well. Going to go for the third, but not quite going to manage it. And now it's down to Neo with the Tech 9 and Pasha with the USP.
Neo moving in. He's got one on the flank there with the Tech 9 spray. Messy at best. Taken down by Arch, and it leaves just Pasha up and going. No one is really suspecting him to push in for Mei Long, however. All their attention is drawn back over there in the middle. But again, also, when it comes to the actual time to connect those shots, it's a little bit shaky.
Well, Simple was so quick as well.
Yeah. The worst players will execute that pretty quickly, taking the lead away from the guys from Poland.
Yeah, and it's exactly like Cash, to be honest. It seems like when it's just whoever has the momentum at the time of the game, like someone will step up, we'll see Taz going big, then we'll see a couple of other players. But really, to mention at the moment, Neo has 1 to 9 on the scoreboard, not having a good map at all at this point in time. He's picked the AWP up a couple of times, but he really is the player slacking off at the moment for his team, so they need him to step up. Obviously, a legendary player in CS, so we expect quite a lot from him, but we're going to be seeing just some slight aggression coming out from the T's. The CT's jumping up as well, trying to find something of their own, trying to find some information. But it is very, very difficult at this point to actually find anything out until the T's actually decide to execute.
Crush is looking for his first frag there too, not finding anything as he pushes out for platform control. And now, look at how aggressive Neo is actually able to get. He's already moved all the way up to the areas where the T's are going to be coming out from the halls. There was something to grab, but again, not being fed anything by the worst players just yet. And Arch is actually watching out for this. The smoke reapplied inside of that, really just trying to hold the worst players at bay and keep them away from the site as much as possible. A 1-for-1 trade does occur near drop, and Taz, who's up on top of this little area over here outside of Long A, is going to be able to surprise Fix and take him down too. So not a bad start whatsoever here for the guys on VP. So a lot more, actually, aggression coming out from the side.
Position.
It pays off big time.
Oh, he was in such a good position there, Neo, but again, he gets caught out 1 to 10 now. Still not having a very good game, to say the least, but Pasha, however, will find 2 quick frags, looking for the third as well. Flashbang going to come in. He will be completely blind, but Crush, as you mentioned, not having a great game himself, and he will be taken down by Snacks, and that is, well, another round on the board for VP, and
Right back to a tie again.
Yeah, back to a tie. And the T's, they're going to have plenty of cash to buy back up. Of course, the CT economy is still weak, and we could see the sort of exact same sort of style as Cash, where worst players manage to win a round and then just reset and take the half.
So moving up from this one now, as things still remain very close for both of these teams. Worst players back onto the unfortunate uneven bye here. They're going to hold back a little bit more, trying to take control of Log A first, it would seem, with Crush moving in first for these players as he moves himself in there. Thankfully, there's a good amount of restraint exercised by Snacks. He'd been sticking around for a pretty long time in the previous rounds, but he hears the action starting off pretty quickly, so he decides to fall back. It's going to be Taz that stays up close outside of the mid-connector, and wait to see if he can find some action of himself. But Philin is actually going to find the first kill, punishing Pasha for pushing into those halls, and Fix will win the first 1v1 outside of that mid-connector.
Yeah, this is not looking good already for Virtus.pro. Straight away, we mentioned the possibility of a reset, and already we see 2 entry kills coming in. They did go quite heavy, actually, towards that A site, and already we see one player going down towards B. However, Snacks, he has been one of the better players for VP so far in this game, finding another kill with that AWP. Philin going to be dropping in. Of course, he already switched out that UMP for an M4, so he has gone for a slight upgrade. Again, they're going to take over the drop-down area, and this is now going to be, well, down to one man and one man alone. Neo, he's going to get taken down, and well, the remaining players, Bialy's positioning isn't bad, but Simple reads it, finds another kill for his collection, and well, it's all going to be down to Snacks to try and just find something into this round.
Snacks looking for a miracle here. No utility, only the op. Not even really like, I don't think there's a gun nearby that he could try and trade out, so best hope at this point maybe to save, but that's a good shot. Baits out the shot over there by the statue area and then forces Simple to peek, so he was able to take advantage of that one, but I think he underestimates just how close Fix is and wasn't expecting him to be out in the open ready to peek him there. So with that said, the worst players will strike right back, find another round, and again, take the lead. 7-6, buying up their own economy, and again, re-breaking the CTs here too, more importantly, as they have nothing left to go for a buy in this round.
To be honest, though, for Virtus.pro, I don't think 9-6 is a particularly bad half on Cobblestone. I think that they could definitely come back from that, especially with a pistol win. However, this time they have showed a bit more restraint, because we actually saw in, well, the final rounds of Cash on the first half, they were actually forced buying into it. However, the feeling going to find 2 kills with the Molotov. Not quite sure how that happened,
I think they tried a counter boost drop, and that Molly just screwed them over.
Yeah, it probably got stuck in that position. I'm sure we can find that for you later on from the VOD. But anyway, Arch going to be finding one more kill, and this is just clean up work. Neo going to be with the 5-7. Not a huge amount he can do here. Taz had that in hand initially, but he was taken down, and now they're just going to rotate over towards the A side. This is a very common play from them at the moment, just finding initial kills, rotating away, going for those long-range duels now that they realize they're up against pistols, and this is just going to be a simple round coming out from, well, worse players.
Neo and Bialy are just stuck completely outside of that A-bomb site too, so if they had any hope of getting back in, it's gone now that they just stuck around here. They knew that they weren't going to be able to make any impact whatsoever in this round. Neo is already peeked out, trying to leap across there with the knife, hoping he can bait a player to fall inside and they can drop him, find a rifle or something which they can then run away with and take that into the final round, since their economy is still going to be just in an absolutely abysmal position. But Phil's going to say no to that. Just rolls right through and finds a shutdown there as he grabs all 4 out of 5 of the kills from that round.
Isn't that more kills than he got in like the whole of the first map?
That is, I believe that's correct, yeah.
So definitely having a much better game here, 9-12. Not a huge frag count, but it's enough at the moment, and he's making the plays when it's necessary. Crush still not having the best of games, but really the main underperformer for me has to be Neo. Really not stepping up in this scenario, and of course, if that continues onto the CT side, if worst players can get the pistol, they could run away with this one, and well, that would be a shock horror, especially if you're someone betting, well, on this game, you'd be almost crying at this point. But anyway, Snacks going to be finding the initial kill that will give them some hope into this one.
Snacks finds the first kill, but now he's kind of stuck inside of this mid-connector area. He could try to jump across, but the problem is he's waited too long, and now crossing suicide steps is going to be extremely dangerous, especially with Crush holding that position just on the other side of it. So he's going to need some support, some more aggression to draw the attention away from him, and that'll come in the form of Taz if he wants to move back out here. But it's been smoked off. He doesn't want to take a risk on it. He's got Bialy coming in to support this too. So the worst players, unless they decide to just completely fall back through A long, they're kind of stuck here. They're locked into this type of a hit. And there's going to be the peek from Bialy. Crush wins the duel, but he's at 6 HP. However, we're not going to see Snacks moving out for a reaction play.
Yeah, we're actually going to be seeing Crush going slightly aggressive here, and he's going to get completely punished for it. Obviously, Snacks has upgraded into that AK position. We're going to be seeing Simple finding one more. Taz will find a trade, but it is just Simple show at the moment. He finds a couple of kills. It is going to be a 2 versus 2. Pasha only with the mag. He's still over towards that B site. And Neo, he's going to have to make a play here. He will take down one. Finally stepping up and doing something in this game, but it's going to be Simple in a 1 versus 2. You wouldn't want anyone else in this scenario for the T side. He is very prolific in these positions, and we'll see whether or not he can find that initial kill. Of course, Pasha going to be playing with the mag. We'll try and get up close. Simple, quite risky actually, planting in that position. The flashbang going to go and actually blind him and his teammates, so not ideal to say the least from Pasha, but if he can get close and personal, never mind. Neo just finishes him off, and finally we see the man, the myth, the legend actually step up in this game.
Yep. Full 10-second defuse will be coming out from Neo, but thankfully it will not be too big of a deal since the bomb really just went down from Simple, so it's going to be kept extremely close, 7-8.
Exact same scoreline as we saw on Cash. And the exact same thing happened in the last few rounds where they sort of went for something the round before and then they won the final round and brought it to 8-7. So this is sort of a little bit of deja vu. However, I do feel like Cobble is a much more T-sided map than Cash. Or maybe not much more, but it is more in a sense that I feel like it's going to be more difficult for worse players. However, if Simple can step up with that AWP, if we can see Arch come back into play, I wouldn't say this game is over by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Virtus.pro were able to win that many gun rounds in a row, along with the fact that, I mean, just to be completely blunt about it, if Horse players hadn't won the pistol round and got those first couple of rounds for free, we would have been looking at a completely different scoreline that was heavy in Virtus.pro, coming off their CT side as well. So, obviously, entries are looking a little bit weaker for VP on the past couple of maps. I think that's the one area where Horse players really shine and what would allow them to take the advantage back over on Cash, but Virtus.pro, we're going to be able to pick things up here on this map, that maybe we can still see them shutting this down and taking the set as expected, just not with the scoreline that some people saw coming in. Berlin, though, is going to be able to pick up that first kill. It is traded back out by Taz, but then we see Simple peeking back up from the top of the ramp. Shuts in another one on Neo. Keeps us down to just 2 left alive here from the side of Virtus.pro as the Wars players just absolutely decimate Virtus.pro in their attempt to push up this ramp.
Yeah, great positioning as well from Simple to get a little bit more of a tag. Obviously, both these players without any armor, not that it particularly matters, as they would just get taken down by 1 bullet to the head either way. But it's going to be a very difficult position now. We've seen some crazy pistol play already come out from Fix. Pasha going to be finding one. And there goes Simple out of the round, so possibly a little bit of an overextension from him. He gives them a way back into this one. Of course, plenty of time left on the clock. It isn't over as of yet, but still, you have to favor the CT side in this scenario. However, one player has already rotated away.
The problem is ultimately going to be, though, is that like they're so slow about this. So as you said, he has rotated away, but it's not very far. He's just inside of the hallway right now, outside of the A-bomb site. So he's very easily able to peek back up towards the balcony and support in the event that we do see Fix spotting some trouble. The real problem is going to be getting Arch over here to help out with this one, but Virtus.pro are being extremely slow about the way they're taking this site. Smoke comes in to cover off CT main. They're moving up onto the site itself now, and it will fall to Fix to try and hold it, but Snack's just going to wreck him. As soon as he moves in there, he's going to be a dead man. Now it's on Crush to try and pull something back, but he's actually going to decide to sit back and wait a little bit for Arch to come in on the support.
Yeah, needs to make something here. One of them needs to find the entry. Of course, they do have a kit, so it's not all down to timing, and Arch is going to find one. It's now going to be all down to Snacks, the luck man himself, and he has got himself into a pretty good position here. Going to go for the tap, and he'll completely miss. That is really unfortunate, and now he has to just go, and unfortunately, the kit, I think, will just find the defuse before he can get anywhere near the site. Snacks will find a kill, but that's just sort of, well, a little bit of a celebratory loss in a way.
Don't shoot when you're in that position. That's like the second or third time we've seen that now in this set, where someone, specifically on VP, where someone has had like a great flank with a pistol, and then they messed it up with a pistol. They couldn't find the headshot or something because it was at like long range, and the inaccuracy kind of screwed them over. So Virtus.pro basically had that in their hands with that flank, but it doesn't pay off in the way they expected. And how the worst players will be able to keep their lead going. But some good damage done, and we see the plant coming in for VP. So not the worst story at the end of the day, especially with the scoreline still being this close.
Yeah, they'll be able to get onto their buy very, very quickly. Of course, I feel like that's already been scripted by the worst players. They picked up 4 rifles and a scout in this scenario, so they're not going to be too worried as of yet. Obviously, any damage done will be a bonus. A bomb plant would be the ultimate goal in this round. I don't feel like there's any real chance of them bringing this one back, but we are going to be seeing just a couple of players currently over towards that A site. This is sort of the standard setup for most teams, although nobody in drop at the moment, just holding it from outside, so it does leave a little bit of an opening for them to rush onto that B site, and it does seem to be the drop down position where they are planning on going. One of their 2 nades is going to be thrown out here to try and get them a position onto this site, and here we go. This is going to be the straight up rush. Crush going to be waiting to try and stop anybody over towards Plat. That is going to be the bomb. If he can drop that, this would completely ruin any chance of them getting it down. And already starting to pre-fire over here. Get dinked instantly. The bomb is going to be dropped, but this should just be a cleanup now. Arch going to be finding 3 kills instantly, and Fix walks in and finds the final one.
10-7, of course. Now VP, though, with enough money onto the board. And with that extra plant they found, too, actually going to have a decent amount of utility heading into this first gun round. Normally, the T's will be lacking a little bit, but thankfully they were able to get some extra smokes and flashbangs onto the board. Still going to be a little bit weak overall, but much better than if they had just gone into this one blind.
Well, and also it is a 4 Famases with a scout, so it's not even the ideal buy on the opposing side either. So obviously a hell of a lot of utility is in play for them. They're going to try and slow down any positions, but there's a great chance for VP with those 1 taps to come into this round. A lot of kits in play as well. So there is an awful lot for worse players to play with. However, straight away we're going to see some aggression over towards the A site. Initially we're going to see Bialy go down, but that was sort of just the fake, and now it's going to be down to this man, the myth, the legend, and he gets taken down instantly by Taz. So nothing is going to be happening in this scenario, and it looks like, well, now it's just going to be a difficult retake to say the least up against the AKs. Neo going to be finding one more, has stepped up so far in this round at least. Going to be seeing Taz finding another. Snack's going to retreat away after he takes a little bit of initial damage, but it is only 2 players left now for the CT side.
Snack's just going to creep his way underneath of the balcony here, too, to try and wait this out, preventing anybody from the worst players from re-entering in that direction. Gets a bit aggressive, but it brings Crush down to 7 HP. Only Arch really the biggest opposing force at this point, but he too has just been digged down to 58 HP. Crush just peek out and he finds another kill, so we're not done just as of yet. It's really just about getting out onto the site. And they have a bit of a mean crossfire. Finally, though, worst players, they realize they're out of time. They realize this is really not going to happen. So they fall away. They're just going to fall back to the B site and save the rifles for the next round. They'll allow Virtus.pro to pick up the first gun round.
Yeah, and I feel like that's happened pretty much every single time. The first gun round of the half normally goes the way of VP. They seem to be very good, and then, well, possibly some adaptation comes in from worse players, of course. They should be able to buy back up, and straight away we're going to be seeing an AWP bought for Simple, so they really are going for it now. They're going for all-out aggression. They're going to try and get Simple to find those initial kills, and the remaining players are going to be, well, they've got Famases, but they don't have the ideal utility, especially on Arch, who was the player who sacrificed himself to give that AWP over to Simple.
So as we take a look at VP now, after they find...
Snacks not have a gun.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that. Hold
I
on.
think he's just realized.
Wait. He's going back to spawn now. really kept the worst players in this match now. Whoop.
A little bit of lag on the stream at the moment. Just ignore that. I'm sure that will be fixed relatively soon. I think this may be a slight server issue. But, yeah, they're just going to stop this one. But you can actually just look at, well, the actual scoreline itself. Pasha was someone who initially wasn't doing particularly well, but he has stepped up massively. Obviously, now he's at the top of the board just because they reset the frags, which is kind of annoying considering I was just about to comment on that. But nevertheless, it does mean that he is starting to step up, and that's an important thing because obviously it was sort of, well, it was definitely Snacks leading the way. And I think, who was it alongside? It wasn't Bialy. Was it Bialy? I can't actually remember. There was someone else leading the way with him. But nevertheless, Neo was down the bottom of the board. No, it was Taz. It was Taz. He had some great rounds in the first half. But if Pasha can step up as well, those three players could just drag Neo kicking and screaming through this game if necessary, of course. Simple hasn't done too much in the last few rounds. Even with that AWP, they invested a huge amount in him. And unfortunately, it hasn't paid off. And now they are back to a sort of eco scenario, a same situation we saw on Cash. And VP did then run away, well, 215.
It's very hard, it seems, to sort of make sure that the impact comes in, especially on the B-bomb site. I talked about this before. Like, it often is going to come down to players like Fix and Wana, who is finding a lot of those entries in the past two maps. Like, he's the one that needs to pave it because, like, the op-up close, although we have already seen Simple find a couple of those frags, it's extremely hard for him, especially if there's players hiding by broken wall with shotties or boosted up for him to effectively use that op at that position. If they find that first or second killer, that's when Simple can really go off and try to strike back against those guys and make sure that they get the impact that is necessary to close out the round. Because we haven't been seeing that within the past few, and they've been trying a couple different sort of strategies, but they're not really working out. In all honesty, the more basic type of strats from worst players was going very well for them. They were just going for the B hits and whatnot. It's as soon as they tried shifting things up to A hits and all these other more complex, slower plays that we started seeing stuff go wrong, and Virtus.pro taking advantage of that.
Yeah, for sure. I think game's still incredibly close, which I'm still looking sort of forward into the tournament. Like, worst players, they have no expectation on them at this point. Like, they've come into the tournament late. They're obviously a brand new roster. Obviously, people still comment on the sort of Simple factor. Like, the second you see Simple in a lineup, everybody just goes crazy on, like, HLTV or Reddit or whatever. But the fact that they are taking Virtus.pro this close is either very, very scary for Virtus.pro or just really, really good for worst players. And at the moment, I think it's a bit of both. I feel like VP have made some huge mistakes, and if they continue to, worst players could definitely close this one out, but probably not anything going to happen in this round.
There's your scoreline, by the way, that you were looking for before, just to talk about stats. It was bring that up. But we're back into it now to take a minute for the match medic to find itself and restore the round to the proper status. But we are back now. It seems like the server just glitched out a little bit there. It's been fixed pretty quickly, though. And now we are back into the match. Where worst players, their economy's been reset, and they have nothing going into this round. Just a couple P250s. So Virtus.pro, this should be a pretty straightforward round.
Should be.
Theory, yes.
Should be. Because some of the things we've seen from them, I'm not so sure. But we'll see. They are going to be pushing into what is a stack towards the long area of A, and I'm intrigued to see whether or not any real frags can be found here. We're going to see the first pushing in. It is going to be Snacks finding that kill. The remaining players are looking to try and trade them out, but it is just going to be Pasha and Snacks closing things down. One player remains. That is Simple, but I think even this situation is just a little bit too much to hope from Simple.
I mean, yeah. If Simple clutch this, I will shave my head, basically.
That's not really that impressive, me saying that, I'll be honest. I'm pretty much there already. But anyway, Neo going to close him down. So
regardless, like, even if Simple had an amazing position, like this huge flank, with Virtus.pro's players lined up, I feel like you should still win that.
Yeah, he would need 10 shots to the head.
Yeah. Be a bit tough.
That stat alone is sort of scary.
I feel safe. I feel safe making that last bet.
Damn. Why couldn't he have won that? No, Simple, not going to make that happen. But it will be the rifles coming back in. Of course, no AWP for Simple, something that has been very influential in this game so far. Not so much recently, but anyway, we will see very limited utility, and this could be another position for Virtus.pro to get back in, and somehow Bialy has just walked straight around the back of Arch. Crush not really holding his buddy's flank, and well, this should just be an easy round now. This is going to be so difficult to retake. Simple does manage to make a slight impact in the round by finding one, but Bialy, someone, as said, who hadn't stepped up so far, finds a quad kill in that round. And that's the thing about Virtus.pro. Every single player on this team, on occasions, can go off. And that was an important round, one where they could reset worst players again.
That was like a wasted buy round entirely if that came out there from worst players. They had a decent amount going into that one, but I mean, they just don't impact at all. The first player that goes down, I don't even know what he's looking at, but he has no support further into the site, so I feel like he should expect a flank to come in his direction, but just sits there against the wall and is shot to the back. And from that point forward, it's just a textbook cleanup from VP. So they can pass what should have been a much more conflicted round with ease, and they're going to be right back on another eco.
Yeah, and now this is the exact same position we saw on Cash, where VP are going to be getting close to the match point scenario. Of course, the flashbang was
only
nice,
blinds himself.
It's the spray coming in from Pasha. Just going to find that kill nice and easy, and well, can't really expect too much in this round. Arch has gone for the Deeg. We've seen some Deeg prowess so far, mainly coming out from Bialy and Taz, but see if we can add Arch to that list. Of course, he is going to be rotating in from behind. We will see Simple find one with the USP, find himself an AK for a brief second, but that's going to be it. 1 kill in the round. Pasha survives on 2 HP, but 13 to 11, and now the big buy comes in.
Includes the op on Simple with armor behind it, decent utility. They've got HEs, they got mollies. There's no more excuses in terms of buying power anymore for the worst players. It's all about the ability to close things out, but the problem is they have allowed Virtus.pro to get a dangerous amount of their own money built up. 11.8k to 11.2k on Pasha and Bialy alone, and plenty more for the other 3 players. So even if they start winning rounds here, Virtus.pro, they're just going to be able to buy through the losing bonus. And basically they're going to be facing gun rounds for the rest of this half now.
4 players currently, well, very firmly over towards the B site. This does leave 1 man alone. That is Philin, someone who has had a couple of good rounds over onto this long A position. Going to be looking to try and find Taz. Not going to find him as of yet, and the swarm is now approaching onto this A site. The 4 players going to be trying to rotate in. Philin's position is a decent one, and actually, it's almost as if they've forgotten he's there. I'm a little bit questioning the fact that they saw him, surely. How did they not know he was there?
Just saved their lives, though. Look at it. Now Philin's like, darn it. He's not going to be able to spot anything anymore. The flashbang comes back out, but now they've got a molly back off here, too. He's looking for a connection in the smoke, but he cannot find it. Down to 70 HP. Still a decent position, but the real issue is now going to be making sure that Arch can impact. And the problem is he just lost it. I don't even think Arch really wants to go for this retake. He needs to save that rifle. So they're going to let Virtus.pro have this round. 4 left alive at the end of it. Almost having a big impact there. But ultimately, at the end of the day, not able to find a single kill.
That was nearly another huge mistake from VP. There's no way they didn't see him that time because they were having a gun battle early on. He just retreated away. I guess they thought he retreated back in the other direction. But because they had nobody pushing from the actual long position, they all went up the stairs. It just meant that he had almost the perfect position to win them the round. Unfortunately, he's just not able to connect on... Well, he did a lot of damage, but just didn't take down either of those players in the smoke. Whoever threw that completely saved their lives.
So VP within 2 rounds of victory here. But the guys on worst players, they're just going to have to force up now. They don't even have a choice anymore. No op to be found for Simple. They're on the full losing bonus as it's up to a 6-round streak here for the guys on Virtus.pro. Still everybody with rifles and armor, but again, lacking in the utility department severely.
And well, Simple currently 17 to 18, definitely not having the same level of impact as he had on Cash. That is one of the maps that, well, especially in the major where we saw him going absolutely ham on occasions, but not this time. Not yet, anyway, but we did see them come back from this sort of position before on Cash. This will be the time to do just that, but it is going to be now the full buy, of course, from Virtus.pro. They've got a huge amount of cash behind them at the moment. And this is just going to be, well, a little bit of aggression coming out from the CT side, just trying to spot out something to boost, something we haven't seen as of yet from either of these teams, so it could hopefully catch off Virtus.pro. Prolong this match just a little bit longer, but if Virtus.pro do get out of this one with a 2-1 win, I think they'll count themselves lucky and have to pick themselves up later in the tournament to do if they're going to get anywhere.
Taz sitting back there making sure there's nobody from the CT side that is perched up inside of that little mini cubby. Definitely not going to be the case. Everybody on worst players is holding their position on the site. In the meantime, Neo going for a little bit of a push himself here too, out towards long 8, looking for the first kill, and he's going to find it. Philin just jumping around there, and Neo is still another one to be found up on top of the wall itself. But for whatever reason, Simple is just looking down over there towards the mid-connector. He just finally had, I don't know what caused that. Regardless, though, the actual hit onto the B-bomb site failed completely. And now is only leaving Snacks alive, and I believe it since he's messed up the smoke. Finding his way out here is going to be very, very difficult, especially clutching out the 1v3, too.
Yeah, he's in a decent position though. If he can find this entry kill, it is possible, but very difficult to say the least, and they now should know exactly where he is. He still finds one, nevertheless. I don't think he knows there's a player on statue though, and unfortunately Arch will take him down. No miracles coming out from Snacks this time, and well, although the CT side do take a bit of damage, dropping 3 players, and the T's, well, we already know that their economy is ridiculous. It is going to be the 12th round coming in for worse players.
So, not done fighting just as of yet here. Virtus.pro, they have not secured their victory, but thankfully they're still going to be free to buy for the next like 3 or 4 rounds or so. I don't really think they're actually going to run into any economical issues. It's just very odd what happened there on those entries, obviously just getting destroyed by the worst players. They held back, they played a passive, and that's what I was talking about before. They started to take a lot more of these risks and whatnot, and things just really didn't pay off for them. So playing it to the basics seems to work out the best for the worst players. And doing that did net them another round back over there on round number 26.
Yeah, building up again towards the A side. I feel like even though most teams would heavily favor hitting the B site, quite often, as you said, I think when we were talking previously, you were saying the fact that this map really does come down to how well you can actually perform on the B site. Something that I have noticed is Virtus.pro are very happy to go towards A, actually very, very often. So really it's going to come down again, Villain in this position up close, and Simple, of course, with the AWP holding the long area. So going to see that push coming in. They are going to use the stairs to get themselves into middle, just having a little bit of a push, not really spotting out anything as of yet. Does leave only 2 players here, but one of them is this AWP, and while holding the perfect position, he could easily take down a couple and just retreat back. So it's going to come down to what he can do here. They do look like they're gathering up to just push straight towards along. They're already going to smoke out Simple, so not going to have very much impact in this round at all, and already the swarm is coming in. However, Fillin's position again, he's in that backstab role. However, he does have somebody pushing up behind him as well, Neo, the one player who may have just clocked that there could be someone in this position.
Wait a second. He doesn't realize it. Pasha's moving in. He'll be able to grab it. Not going to be the knife kill, unfortunately, but now Arch and Fillin move in. They're going to pick up kills. Taz trades out another one. We still have Pasha up on the site, though, but he's just giving away his position, and Arch is going to be able to take him down. So they just absolutely destroy the hold. Again, nicely played here by worst players, moving together as a single unit. And it's not just a one-man show anymore. Arch and Fillin do most of the work that time, and it's Virtus.pro's fault, really, for not clearing out that site properly that allows worst players to get back in so quickly.
Well, it's notable as well that that flank from Neo did not pay off at all. Fillin ended up taking him down and then rotating back and being completely behind all of the players. So it just made things absolutely impossible. They were being pushed from all angles. And although they did almost get a knife kill on the player trying to ninja defuse the bomb, it is going to be 14-13. And, well, they are spending up all that money. I don't know how much money they have left in the kitty. I think they still have a fair bit to play with, but it doesn't matter. They're not winning the rounds. They're not able to do anything. And Arch using that tree position so very well. A position that a lot of teams actually just straight up Molotov is going to find the first kill onto Bialy, who was going for an entry. However, that was just a fake. And now we see the push coming in. Fillin again, the lone survivor on this site. He does seem to be very, very good at playing towards A, possibly a position he actually enjoys. And here we go. Here comes the push. Already a little bit of support pushing in from one of his teammates. Fillin is going to find the first, looking for the second. It will be Taz to find one. He finds another as well. Taz finds a third. Huge round coming out from him. Arch manages to trade that kill. It's back to a 2 versus 2 Neo. The bomb at his feet. The boost going to be coming in, but Pasha, he could get him behind. He could completely ruin the round. This could be the end for both these players. They'll peek at once, and Pasha will take down both. That's going to be 15. And now worst players, they're fighting back for overtime once more.
And their money, look, they've just been reset to the only one that can afford a rifle is Fillin. The rest are either going to be forcing up with no armor, or they're just going to be having upgraded pistols with utility sitting behind it. Fillin, though, not... Jesus. Let's say I would expect Fillin to, like, drop a rifle at the very least, but no. He's just going to drop the op for Simple, and that's it. It's always going to be grabbing this time, along with his upgraded pistol. A smoke for himself, which he's already used. Fix, buying up the Deagle with armor behind it, and a couple more guys upgrading their pistols. The only other real gun that's up on the board is going to be Arch with the UMP. With the UMP.
Well, also Arch is the top fragger, joined with Taz at the moment in the server. So it's interesting. They're relying an awful lot on Simple here, and he hasn't been particularly good in the last few rounds, to say the least. So a huge risk coming in here, and this could be the game in itself. So betting a lot on one player. It's going to be Fix going down. Quick cleanup. Arch will find one more. He is still doing work. Crush going to be taken down, but quickly we see all the remaining players finished off. Virtus.pro do close out this series, but damn, that was close.
Absolutely, and obviously, as you were mentioning, the whole load of mistakes being made by them, it's going to be rough heading on to their next matchup, which is going to be against another one of the winners coming out as well.
Well, I'm not sure. Do we switch things up, or is it just going to be a straight win against, they're going to play Hellraisers?
I do not know the way the brackets actually progress.
Because if they play Hellraisers, I honestly think they could be stuffed. If they play like that, they've got no chance. Because not only do they have that prolific AWPer on Oscar, but they also have a whole team as well who are like well practiced. They play together a lot. They've added Bondic, who is another player who is very, very good player. So, well, I'm worried for Virtus.pro. I'm hoping that we see the old Virtus.pro sort to come alive, like maybe build into the tournaments.
The plow is what you're
like, yeah, basically like you see Fnatic do it sometimes, where they have a shaky start, they start off bad, and then they just push their way into a tournament. That's sort of what I'm hoping for. Otherwise, well, the Polish fans out there, they may just have to go and watch CSGO Lounge instead.
All right, guys. Well, that is going to be the end of the first match here. Over on the mainstream, we are going to see the loser of this match take on SK Gaming, and that should be coming up at any moment. So once again, that'll be Worst Players versus SK Gaming. Here on this stream, the beta stream, I don't think we have another match for another like 2 hours or so. Here local time here in Ukraine, but that should be Flipside versus Godsent coming up here right around 4 p.m. local Ukrainian time. Stick around for that, and we'll be back in a little bit with more of the Starliner Invitational.
See you soon.